Hey friends, did you manage to get your hands on a Switch and now you're looking for some shoot 'em ups? I've got the video for you, coming right up. In this video we're going to be talking about Nintendo Switch shoot 'em ups. However, if you have a PS4 and you're looking for shmups on that platform, you can click on this card and it will take you to a couple more videos for that platform. The first game we're going to cover is called Aces of the Luftwaffe, and it's available physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One. You can find this game on all major retailers, Amazon, and eBay as well. The game definitely eases you into the action with the first few missions by explaining how to use your weapons as well as the other pilot's issues. As far as multiplayer goes, you can play up to 4 people couch co-op for this one, and it's a lot of fun. The difficulty levels are normal, hard, and extreme, which is only unlocked when you beat it on any difficulty. It's a cartoonish vertical shoot 'em up set during World War II that has some cliche voice acting, but it definitely goes along with the style of the game. One of the interesting twists on this game is you can actually play as the good guys or the bad guys. It's a fun premise. There's no branching paths, however, but you do have the opportunity to upgrade yourself and the other pilot's abilities as well. There is a lot to do here, and it's a very fun game. Now we're going to talk about a game called Caladrius Blaze. Caladrius Blaze you can find physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch as well as the PlayStation 4. It's a 2-player couch co-op game with a couple different difficulties, ranging from practice all the way up to very hard. The character selection screen also shows you how the character's ship is going to shoot, which is a great premise. This way you know going in what it's going to do. I'm going to state this right up in front. I'm not a fan of the shame break stuff. It just, to me, it doesn't fit in with a shoot 'em up game. There is a storyline here for each of the different characters, which does make it interesting as you play through the game. The soundtrack and the backgrounds definitely keep the game moving at a good pace. And between each level, you can actually upgrade your ship's special shots. Another great thing about the game is the number of different enemies. They will vary widely in their appearance and how they shoot at you. From what I've played of the game, there's no branching paths or any kind of overworld to start from another level. It's a fresh start every time you fire up the game. It's a good shoot 'em up if you can get past the shame break stuff. Next game we're going to talk about is called Ghostblade. Ghostblade is what I would call a vertical bullet hell. The game can be found physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch and the PS4, and as well as physically on the Dreamcast and digitally for Windows. There's a 2-player local co-op option on here as well, and there's 3 different difficulties to select from: easy, medium, and hard. It's bright and colorful, with music and gameplay that builds to frantic levels. Enemy shots are very easy to see. However, when you do die, what happens is, when you come back, the first 5 seconds or so, nobody's going to shoot at you, so it's a nice way of easing you back into the action. You do have bombs at your disposal as well, and they will wipe out the enemy shots, and most of the enemies too. When certain enemies get destroyed, so do their shots, so you can time things appropriately. Even if you're about to get shot, if the guy dies, so do his bullets. There's no story here, it's just a great shoot 'em up. The artwork on the side of the screens you can change in the game menu if it does get too distracting. I've already changed it in mine so you can focus on the gameplay. There's no overworld or branching paths here. It's just start the level and work your way through it. It's fun, it's bright, it's colorful. I dig this game. Now we're going to talk about a game called Graceful Explosion Machine. This can be found physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch, as well as digitally on the PlayStation 4. The first few levels are great at easing you in and teaching you how to use all your different weapons, as well as how the bad guys are going to come after you. The single-player only horizontal shoot 'em up plays very similar to Defender, except the colors are much more vibrant. The flat art style of the game is a nice change of pace for the genre as well. The soundtrack on the overworld map is soothing and calm, but during the actual gameplay, it's more upbeat and hopping. I would call the soundtrack almost ethereal as you're playing through the levels. It's very light, but it keeps with the pace of the game. The gameplay can get surprisingly frantic as the levels progress. You can take 4 hits and then you're done. You can pick up shield recharges which appear when you take down larger enemies. Your ship has a few different shots. Your regular shot will do a fair bit of damage, however the missiles and the sniper shot will basically wipe out whoever's in the way. During gameplay, the bad guys are going to come at you in waves, so at a certain point you'll be whittling them down to the last one, and then suddenly a second wave will, third wave, fourth wave will come after you then. There's no character selection or ship selection here either. It's just one and done. It's fun, and the art style definitely makes it unique, but it's not my most favorite. Now we're going to talk about RxN Raijin. The game's release is only physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch. It's a single player only, and you have 3 different difficulty levels of easy, medium, and hard. The physical game comes with a steelbook if you do decide to swap it out. The levels are very short, and when I mean very short, like 30 seconds short. However, there are quite a few of them that you can run through. The mechs have shields, so it's not a one-hit kill, and if you don't take damage for a period of time, your shields do end up regenerating. The mechs do have a super shot. That doles out a lot of damage, however, it draws from the same pool as your shields. So if you overuse your super shot, your shields are going to get depleted very quickly. Also, as you're playing through the levels, you get gems, but I've not found anywhere in the gameplay that you can actually use these things. After you finish your level, you get a review screen detailing the gems you received and how much experience you got. There's also a button that gives you the option to transform your mech. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't change the gameplay, it just shows you how the mech transforms. The one thing about the boss fights is the music. It's very dramatic and over the top. However, the fanfare after you beat a level, it's the same, and it gets very monotonous and boring after a period of time. Also, the story is you're fighting off aliens. That's really about it. Now we're going to talk about Steriden Binary Star. You can find Steriden physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch, the PS4, and digitally on the Xbox One. Steriden is a retro-style shooter that is hard. They don't hold your hand on this game at all. You come out of the gate and it's game on. When you begin, you're presented with 2 ship options, and there are 3 other ones that can be unlocked through gameplay. Thankfully, you have shields in this game. It's not a one-hit kill, but if you're not paying attention, you can burn through them very, very quickly. As for alternate gameplay modes, you do have an arena option as well. What that allows you to do is you can actually play against previous bosses that you've defeated already. During gameplay, you're going to come across weapons that you can pick up. If you don't have a secondary weapon, it will add it to your arsenal. However, if you do have 2 weapons already, it will replace the one that you are currently have equipped. You got to be mindful of that. Also, if you like speed metal, this is what the soundtrack basically is throughout. When you kill a boss, a few things are going to happen. 1, all your shields are going to be refilled, thankfully. 2, you're going to get a permanent upgrade until you die to your ship. Now it could be something as far as an increase in damage, an increase in shields, all different things, but they definitely will help. Also, as you're playing through, you're going to notice things such as the Doctor Who TARDIS. The pixel work here is beautiful and very much on point. Whoever did it did a fabulous job, and I have to give them kudos for that. Though, as beautiful as this game is, it's hard as nails. That side of the game makes me not want to play it as much as if it was a little bit easier. Now we're going to talk about Cyvariar Delta. This game you can find physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch, as well as physically on the PS4. If you're having problems with a specific level, there is a practice mode, and you can go in and select that specific level and practice to your heart's content, which is great. There are 5 different difficulty options here as well, and it's a 2-player local couch co-op, so you can bring a friend as well. The Replay Mode Plus lets you pick a level and go through it and keep your score for just that given level, kind of like a score attack mode. The shots coming at you are definitely bright and colorful, so you can see exactly what killed you. The levels are a bit on the short side. On the side of the screen, you do have a zoomed in view of your ship, so you can see just how close the bullets got to you, but you can't really focus on it because of all the action going on during the regular gameplay. It's fun and fast paced, and it has a great techno soundtrack that definitely keeps it moving. The game loads super fast. In between levels, there's actually very little or no loading time, so it definitely keeps up with the action. You do get a choice of your characters, and their ships do shoot a little bit differently, so choose according to your liking. The 2 characters on the cover, you never really know who they are. It doesn't really go into any detail of any kind. The next game we're going to talk about is a digital-only release for the Nintendo Switch. However, it has a physical release for the Dreamcast. The game's name is called Sturmwind. There is no multiplayer here, so it's just you on your own during gameplay. The game's first level definitely eases you in, but after that, it's good luck. There are a couple different game modes. You have mission mode and arcade mode. Both have an easy, medium, and hard option for the levels of difficulty. The levels have a good bit of length to them. Sometimes it's almost a bit too much. Also, there's a few levels that were really heavy-handed with the color red going on. Your ship has 3 different shot types, each associated with a specific color, green, red, and blue. If you get hit while you have the red shot engaged, you will lose the red shot ability, and at that point you will only have the green and blue shots remaining available to you. As you're navigating the levels, some enemies will drop a booster that you can toggle between 1,000 points, a red booster, a green booster, or a blue booster. If you have the red shot engaged and you pick up the red booster, the red shot will become more powerful. However, if you've lost your red shot and you pick it up when it's red, you will gain back that ability. If you pick it up when it's red and you have one of the other colors enabled, it goes to waste. There's a few levels here that have a severe overabundance of red going on in the background, which can definitely lead to shots not being seen very well, but it doesn't make it impossible. At some points though, there's items that can be seen flying by in the background, but they're not, and they might take you out. You also don't want to run into the ceiling or the floors on the levels that have them either, as it will just instantly kill you. At times during gameplay, there's an avatar that fades in and out, but they never say anything, and I've not found out what that's for. The story just seems that you're fighting off an alien invasion. There's not much more depth than that. Also, as far as unique abilities or mechanic, there's not really anything here other than the 3 different shots that are available to you, being red, blue, and green. In the mission mode, you do get to select where you want to start. If you've progressed through level 5, then you can pick up right where you left off. It's a fun game, but it is also digital only. Now we're going to talk about Psycho Shooting Stars Alpha. Psycho Shooting Stars Alpha you can find physically and digitally on the Nintendo Switch. And this game is a deal. Actually, you should probably go get this if you have a Switch and are into shoot 'em up games. Just for the simple fact of you're getting 6 games when you buy this. You're actually getting Strikers 1945, 1945 2, 1945 3, Soul Divide, Dragon Blaze, and Zero Gunner 2. If you total up the eBay value of all of those games, you're talking about over $375. With this game, you can play all of them on current hardware. Some of the games in this collection do have multiplayers, but not all of them do. We're going to go through them fairly quickly here. Strikers 1945, it's a fun vertical wartime themed shooter with mech bosses, and there's 7 different difficulty levels to choose from. Strikers 1945 2, it's very similar to 1945. In Strikers 1945 3, the game has 4 different difficulties to choose from. Also, the aircraft selection options are more current versus the previous 2 games, but the gameplay is identical. In Soul Divide, this is a scrolling shooter that has 4 different difficulties to choose from. You can see the gameplay, it's not just a regular shoot 'em up. This is definitely a different game as it's unlike any other shooter I've played. It's got a role-playing aspect to it with the weapon combat, health bonuses, and magic that you can get as well. And then in Dragon Blaze, it's a vertical shoot 'em up that has 7 different difficulty settings and 4 different characters to select. Each one of them has a different dragon as well as a unique shot pattern, and each character's order of level changes as you're playing. In Zero Gunner 2, you're operating one of 3 different helicopters. There's 7 difficulty settings to choose from, and it's also a perspective game. And what I mean by that is you can change the perspective as you're going through the level by holding the Y or B button, and this will bring up a little reticle that your helicopter will rotate around. When you let go of the button, you remain locked in that direction. X will drop out a little assistant aircraft to help dole out some damage as well. This game should be in your collection just for the simple fact of you're saving over $300 versus buying the older games. So there you go, guys. A couple more games for you to get your shoot 'em up fix on. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have any comments or any suggestions for games that I missed, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Other than that, take it easy, have a good one, and be good to each other. Thanks for watching. Love it.